Hey there guys, JR here with you. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a beautiful late spring day along the Hawksbill stream in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. Got a good subject matter to talk with you about today. The bones don't lie. Stick around. Another riding season has rolled around, and these bones are another year older. And you can tell them all you want that you can do everything that you used to do when you were a younger man, but these bones, they don't lie. So at the start of every ride and every riding season, it's always a good idea to review safety procedures, think about learning new skills, maybe putting into practice some skill sets that you have gotten rusty on. In this video, I'm going to talk about crashes I've had. We're going to review some videos of those. We're going to analyze those, see what we can learn. As we get older, we've got to be more careful than ever out there on the trail. There's probably some things that we need to change up in how we ride and where we ride and when we ride. It's always good for everybody, young, middle-aged, or older, to review safety procedures. So that's what we're going to do straight ahead. Let's get started.
So about 6 years ago in 2018, and after retiring, I bought a DR650, got into adventure motorcycle riding. After a year of riding local here in Virginia and camping, I joined with some guys and headed out on the Trans-America Trail. In Utah on the Lockhart Basin, I had a very serious accident, the most serious I've had to date. Let's take a look at it. Our group of 6 had split up by the time we arrived into Utah into a group of 4 riding about a day ahead of myself and my riding partner. My riding partner and I reached the edge of Lockhart Basin thinking it was a shortcut through to Moab and we could gain a day, catch up with our buddies up ahead of us. We had no knowledge of the terrain and the type of challenge that Lockhart Basin offered. It's an expert section, 60 to 70 miles long with no water, no services, and no way out. Extremely difficult riding, especially on loaded adventure motorcycle bikes. The desert was a new territory to myself and not really knowledgeable of the hostility that it can offer to you when you are in the heat of summer. This was August, let alone the tough terrain. Safety briefing, you need to know the territory you're riding through and have some knowledge of the trail ahead of you when it's going to be extremely remote. The entrance to Lockhart Basin from south to north starts off beguilingly easy on a graded road like this, but it becomes progressively more and more and more difficult. In the heat of the day, and we started at about midday on this portion of the trail, the heat begins to take its toll, the riding takes its toll, fatigue sets in. And the desert, like the ocean, is a hostile environment for human beings. We had water, but it was woefully inadequate for the situation that we found ourselves in. The day wore on. Dehydration and fatigue set in. The terrain became more and more challenging. Riding an adventure bike loaded down is no joke in terrain like this. I topped a rise. I think I whiskey throttled it. And the next thing I know, I was over a cliff at about a 14-foot drop, nose first onto a hard pan down below. The tough old DR650 was relatively unscathed other than tweaked front forks. My right foot was badly crushed and in a great deal of pain. Fortunately, my capable partner was able to get down in that draw, found a way to ride my bike back up and onto the trail. We were now truly in a survival situation with the loss of even more water, broken clutch lever, bent gearshift levers, more and more crashes, Hours and hours of riding and dehydration, darkness fell upon us. Riding through the dark, we made it out of Lockhart Basin and into Moab at 3 a.m. So many takeaway lessons learned here. We could sit around the campfire and talk about them all night, but let's just distill it down to some basics. Have advanced knowledge about the trail you're going to attempt, and if it's a harsh environment such as the desert, make sure you're fully prepared for it so you don't get in over your head like I did. As a new adventure rider, I learned a lot during that ordeal on Lockhart Basin. I eventually joined up with the rest of the group and finished the TAT and was walking normally again after a few months. Now let's move on to the opposite end of the spectrum where it's cold, early spring, and the opposite end of the country, Tennessee, and we're attending a rally, my son and I. Let's talk about some of the safety of riding out on the trail, such as riding right. And then we'll watch some activity where spills are part of the fun. You just are expecting them to happen.
Yep, a little gravel, a little stony, a little steep, tight turns. Pay attention to what you're doing. A lot of traffic out as far as many other bikes. So ride to the right and expect traffic at every turn.
These riders muscling these big bikes through mud and streams like this demonstrates skill levels that are well above mine, but probably serves them very well out on the trail.
Good morning from Atlantic City, Wyoming. We are waking up, got a little fire going, get some coffee going.
A few years back, my son Michael and I were riding the Wyoming Backcountry Discovery Route. One of the big challenges on this route, as it is in much of the trails in the West, is if it rains or if it has recently rained and you encounter mud. We had pretty good weather, but there was evidence of mud still on the trail, and we learned a valuable lesson when it looks dry, but it's not dry.
Hit the road, get to our campsite.
Make sure you're drinking water. I guess the road we're supposed to be on must be right over there. Man down. Mud puddle got me.
So what can happen out here is mud can look like it's dry on the surface. It's really just a crust, and beneath is chocolate pudding. Suddenly you find yourself in a chocolate pudding filled rut. This very same trail would be impassable if it rained on us or if it had rained the day before. Be aware of your trail conditions and the weather so you don't get caught out here. Many bikes actually have been stranded in this section of Wyoming. Fortunately, no injuries, but now I was faced with waiting for Mike to get back or get this bike up on my own.
It looked dry on top. Obviously wasn't. I went for a whoop-de-doo. This way. Skid marks. That way. Back across here. Into here. And there she lies. Coming through that, I thought it was dry. Whoop, 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 whoop. Boom. Yep, riding a little too aggressive.
Yeah, I checked my mirrors about up there and saw your headlight, so I kept going.
Ah, you saw the headlight. Well, it was on the ground.
Did you slow it down enough before you ejected?
I did. My brake pedal is bent.
I'm glad you're all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to slow my ass down. My fault. Slow down.
I need to pay attention to my own advice and ride more carefully, but things are going to happen. It just comes at you like a fire hose out here.
Mike's down. My little saw. This is the sacrifice the BMW made to save Mike's life. Bury it nice and deep so the wolves don't dig it up and eat it.
Taking a hit.
Mike took a pretty good spill and broke fairing off the right side of his BMW and a little bit of other damages like his turn signal switch done for. Well, good morning everyone. Welcome to Alcova and our campsite.
Several hours later.
And down, came up over this rise, hard packed, gravelly sand. Wasn't even making a hard turn, man. It just went out from under me and did a 180. Knee pads did their job. Might wait for Mike to come back. I'm good. Like little BBs on top of a hard surface. And I'm okay, and the bike will still run. Moscow Moto took a hit, both here and on the bags. Case saver saved things. I think I'm good. Nothing that can't be fixed with a little sledgehammer. Yeah, I'll blame it on the sunglasses, and that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
Really glad I was wearing hard knee armor underneath of those Moscow Moto pants. The pants are shredded, the knee armor did its work. The case saver was busted off, but it saved the case. I slid backwards after doing 180 for about 12-14 feet. Several hours later. Well, what's up next? You did notice that logging truck, didn't you? Logging trucks on dry Forest Service roads can create extremely deep baby talcum powder. We call it moon dust. And when there's ruts and deep rocks buried in that and a steep hill, well, I think you already know what's about to happen. But what I'm doing here is trying to chug up this hill, maintain my momentum, stay out of the ruts that are unseen, and I'm getting over here to the right-hand side to try and pick a different line. As it started drifting, I could feel myself going to be sucked into the bank on the right, and sure enough, that's what happened. Just behind me, Mike went down too. Neither one of us were hurt. We could have easily fell right onto one of these rocks along the side of the road. It could have been a different story.
Okay, man down. First fall. I got into that rut a bad line. Bad line. No damage that I know of yet.
Next up, I'm out on the Oregon BDR solo. Riding solo presents its own set of risks. You need to be confident in your own abilities, choose your lines and trails carefully. Most important, you need to carry a inReach Garmin or some similar satellite device that you can send out an SOS for help if you need it. You're going to have to pick up your bike on your own. Do you have a capability of doing that?
I had to take all the bags off to do it.
A safety item we all should be carrying is a first aid kit. Maybe we should take a mountaineering first aid course.
Well, that was not fun. Bent my gear shift lever a little bit. So I want to share with you just real quickly something others may not put in their video, but I think you may benefit. And for my own benefit, I'm going to rehash what happened right up there yesterday evening. Pickup truck going right down the road there. I almost hit him head on, and it wasn't his fault. One instant of inattention, and it can mean disaster. I was tired, and I was thinking, it's a little too far to get to Featherville, and I'm going to look for a good camp spot. So I'm coming along down this road, and I look back, checking this camp spot out. And when I look up, that pickup truck is damn right in front of my nose. I hit the brakes, slid, and went down, or I think I would have hit him. I went down hard on my right side, elbow, shoulder smacked onto this rock right here. And my right foot was pinned under the bike. Shoulder hurts. Shoulder armor, elbow armor. Oh, I'm feeling it on my elbow. I'm gonna go down here and think about my choices in life.
That pretty well sums up that accident. Riding after you're tired or late into the evening is not a good choice. Attention span and reaction times are diminished. I was able to take some ibuprofen, soak in that cold stream, and the next morning, thankfully, I was able to ride.
A beautiful spot to pick up the bike. Deep cinders. Just turning it around.
Sometimes circumstances just get you, but practicing doing U-turns in the trail might save you just a simple drop like this. Sometimes just strange things get you out on the trail. Here my son Michael was making his way through this mud in Oklahoma, and a carabiner on his rack behind him caught his jacket as he was trying to stand and maneuver, and ended up taking him down.
A carabiner on the back, as I was moving around,
caught your coat,
hooked onto the back of my belt buckle and kept me from being able to move. So when the bike went down, I was attached to the bike.
Well, good morning from Animas Forks, Colorado.
Another issue to think about if you're going to ride in the high altitudes such as the Rocky Mountains is altitude or mountain sickness.
I'm not feeling real well. I think it's altitude sickness, a little bit of nausea. Incredible ride yesterday. Went up Ophir Pass, Corkscrew Pass, Hurricane Pass, California Pass, and Cinnamon Pass is right up through there.
Altitude symptoms are headaches, nausea, loss of appetite, dizziness. The best thing to do is really drink a lot of water, hydrate, and get down to lower elevations.
Here we go. County maintenance ends.
Here I am starting up the infamous War Loop Road on the Transamerica Trail in Arkansas. It's a well-known, short but very difficult section of the trail. Washed out, no maintenance maintained. It's really just a riverbed practically going down the side of the mountain. Unfortunately for me, I also had a rear tire that was going flat as I started up it, and that contributed to the accident coming up ahead.
I'm down. I'm down. No, I'm on the ground. I'm standing up. Bike's down. Bad line for me.
Having a comm set such as a Cena is another safety device that can come in real handy. I'm communicating with Mike, who's coming up the trail behind me, letting him know the situation.
Going up to the top.
Carrying the tools you need to change a tire or do other repairs and having the ability to do that is also practicing safe adventure riding. So the sun is setting, we've got the tire fixed, can't let Warloop Road whip us. Got to get on up this thing, find a campsite, go to bed. I made it, not with the best technique, and now Mike's going to show me how to make it look easy.
I did something really big. I know that. And after that, it was hang on, Susie.
Watching these past spills and thrills that I've experienced has me thinking about risk mitigation. These bones are another year older. I want to be able to keep on riding, and there's probably some things I need to change up. I will probably ride less solo trips. I will get more rest, maybe in a hotel more instead of camping. Be more careful about the speeds I go and the trails that I choose to go on. What are your thoughts? What are your risk mitigation ideas? This certainly didn't cover everything. We can all benefit from your ideas. Put them down below. Love to hear your comments. All the clips in this video come from the nearly 40 videos of adventure riding and camping that are on my channel. Check that out if it interests you. Check out one of the videos up here in the corner. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you out there on the trail.